The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
You're on the 405.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Why?
You know what time it is, so sit back and get ready for the Stafford Voice, your dose of conservative in a world of liberal.
3, 2, 1.
Good day to you. Hey, how you doing tonight? I am your host, Daniel Stafford, and you are listening to the Stafford Voice, where we are conservative in a world of liberal. Tonight, it's all about standing your ground. You know, before we get into that, I want to remind you that there are so many different ways to listen. Wherever you're at, set this channel as a favorite. Whatever you do, whatever you have to do so you don't get left behind. And if for some strange, crazy reason you do miss the show, you can catch the replay. So just sit tight. There's no need to panic. I got you. In the case you aren't already following on social media, find me on Twitter at Stafford Voice, as well as on Facebook as well. And you can also follow this awesome group called Politainment, which I happen to be a part of. So whoop whoop. So check us out on Twitter as well, at Politainment. You can also find us on the Facebooks. You can also stay up with anything and everything over at thestaffordvoice.com or politainment.net. Also, wherever you're at, make sure you give some love to the station on Twitter or on the Facebooks. Head on over to the 405 Radio and just let them know that you appreciate their opening the door for us here at Politainment. Okay, like I said earlier, I want to talk about standing your ground. I'm not going to talk about how Ruth Bader Ginsburg wasn't 100% sober at the State of the Union. Yes, that's right. She has finally admitted that she fell asleep. What? Anyway, so she had some wine right before the speech. I don't know how anybody could fall asleep listening to Obama. The guy just sends me through the roof. My blood pressure, it just skyrockets. And also, I'm not going to talk about how the military has approved hormone treatments for that little Chelsea Manning character. No. I want to talk to you about standing your ground, kind of like Captain John Parker. If you don't know who John Parker is, let me explain. Way back in the early hours of the morning of April 19th, 1775. By the way, did you guys know that today is Abraham Lincoln's birthday? If not, give a shout out to the old Lincoln, old Abe, old honest Abe. Tell him happy birthday. But so on the early morning of April 19th, 1775, this guy named Captain John Parker was alerted to mobilize the Lexington Company in Massachusetts, the Massachusetts militia, because they were anticipating about 700 British soldiers who were marching to Concord. because they wanted to. They knew that there was a cache of arms in Concord. Well, by 2:00 in the morning, roughly, Parker had got the company together, and he told them. So first off, I gotta make sure you understand the setting, because this was typical of the time period. This group of militiamen, the youngest was 18 years old, and then he probably lied about his age, and the oldest was 63. Okay, there were 8 fathers and sons that were serving hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, and that kind of sets the tone right there. These men were fighting for their country. They were ready to stare 700 British soldiers down, and they were not going to back down. There were roughly 70-some of these militiamen, okay, ready to stand in defiance. Now, most of these guys were farmers. Some of them were even veterans of the French and Indian War. So that just kind of gives you an idea of the setting of things going on at that time. So Parker, he's standing there in front of he's there addressing his guys, and he tells them to stand your ground. Don't fire unless fired upon. But if they want to have a war, let it begin here. Now, Major John Pitcairn, he was the commander of the British advance guard. He had ordered these guys, he ordered the militia guys to lay down their weapons, okay? He told them to lay them down. He knew that he had them outnumbered, and he didn't want to have this huge massacre. Well, to the wise thinking of Captain Parker, he tells his guys just to disperse. So they did. They ran off into the woods. And unbeknownst to the Brits, they decided that they were going to go ahead and march forward. And they made a really, really bad mistake. They fired on them. They fired at these militiamen, and these militiamen knew that they were outnumbered. Greatly outnumbered. And it's, like Sun Tzu once said, when you are faced with certain death, the only thing that can happen is certain victory. Okay, and you need to understand that. Because these guys, they were staring death right in the face. But they stood their ground. They fired back. When it was over, there was only 8 Americans that lay dead. There were 9 wounded. Well, the British kept going, and later that morning, Parker reorganized his unit, and they went to Concord. And this company, the Lexington Company, later fought in the Battle of Bunker Hill. And they wound up forming a company in the Continental Army, who later went on to help. It was a pivotal moment, and it eventually led to the Revolutionary War and our ultimate American independence. Okay, it's important to know that. Now, why? Because we have to stand our ground. We have to stand our ground against all of these enemies that we continue to face day in and day out. The government. We believe it or not, we talked about that last week when we talked about how the enemy is from within. Lincoln warned about that. But also, there was another guy. You got to go way back into history for this dude, Cicero. We've all heard of him, but in one of his lectures called On Moral Duties, he issued a warning to politicians on what they needed to do, and they needed to serve the interests of those they represent, not their own interests. And honestly, lately, it's pretty clear that almost every single politician has dismissed this. So what exactly did he say? He said, quote, "Let those who are to preside over the state obey 2 precepts of Plato. 1, that they so watch for the well-being of their fellow citizens that they have reference to it in whatever they do, forgetting their own private interests. The other, that they care for the whole body politic, and not, while they watch over a portion of it, neglect other portions. For as the guardianship of a minor, so the administration of the state is to be conducted, for the benefit not of those to whom it is entrusted, but of those who are entrusted to their care. But those who take counsel for a part of the citizens and neglect a part bring into the state an element of the greatest mischief, and stir up sedition and discord, some siding with the people, some with the aristocracy, and few being equally the friends of all." Is that in any way related to standing your ground? Well, right now there are just 3 things that we're going to think about here in just a second. And so we're going to think of it this way: net neutrality, regulating online political speech, and a one-world government. Now, when we come back from a break, that's what we're going to talk about. This is Daniel Stafford of the Stafford Voice, right here on the 405. We'll be right back.
Russia and Putin are dominating on the world stage. Radical Islamists have taken over almost every country in the Middle East and are killing all around the world. They have also taken huge swaths of Africa, North Africa, and beyond. Economies in Europe are in trouble. The U.S. dollar loses value almost every day. Our country is in trouble. Don't believe the left, ladies and gentlemen. It's not over.
Cold War Radio, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, on the 405media.com.
You're on the 405.
We're gonna spread freedom. Obama's gonna change it. Obama's gonna lead 'em. We're gonna
So let me be clear.
change
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Everything he's done is clean as a whistle. He's never not only broken any law, he's never done anything wrong. He's the perfect father, the perfect husband, the perfect American.
Hey y'all, this is Sam Janney, or the Bunny as many of you know me by, your friendly neighborhood bad girl of conservatism. Here to talk to you about my show. I'll talk about conservative issues, my top 10 douchebags of the week, and have some pretty badass conservative guests on the show. All that, plus me, your resident bunny with a chainsaw.
Thursday nights will never be the same. It's Unapologetically Bunny, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the 405.
A show that will change internet radio as you know it.
Here come the spy dolphins.
I sold my food stamp money for Doritos and wheat.
I call them the Mary-Kate and Ashley of outrage.
Bras are completely racist. End all bras.
A show that is different from those that aren't so different. Real serious nonsense. Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on the 405. back when he was in grade school, the only crayons he ever cared about were the red one, the white one, and the blue one.
The Stafford Voice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. That was a short, quick little break. I needed something to drink. My throat, here in the Midwest, the weather is crazy. If you don't like it, in about 10 minutes, it'll change. So, one day it could be snowing. The next day it's 70 degrees outside. Then an hour later it's snowing again. It's the weather here in the Midwest is ridiculous, and right now it's just super stupid cold outside. So, whatever. So let's explain and expand a little on some of what we had already talked about. And because these elected officials we put in office, they think they know better than we do. Think to yourself, net neutrality. Way back when all the talk was the fairness doctrine. It wasn't fair for one phone company to monopolize the industry, right? No, hell no. We didn't. The last thing we wanted to do was for AT&T to just monopolize the whole United States, and the only person you could go to for phone was one company. That just wasn't fair. So we needed the government to step in and do something about it. Because it's just not fair if a company has a product or a service people want. No, that's just not freaking cool. It's just not totally cool that if you're the only person that has the one product that I want to buy, I'm going to come to you. No, it's just not fair. We've got to slow things down, and we've got to let other people catch up because it's only fair. People's feelings are getting hurt. Okay? So it's just not fair. So how does that play into the internet? Well, if you have the time, feel free to dive right in on the president's 332-page plan. Obama put it together, and he only did it for us. He wasn't thinking about anybody else except us. You, your friends, your family, your neighbors. He didn't care about himself. It was selfless service, right? So that right there should make you feel, warm and fuzzy. Ugh! Yes, but then again, if the government can regulate it, they can tax it. But is that all? You give the government these days an inch and they take, 1,000 miles? No, I'm not talking about that old crazy song. I would walk 1,000. No, not that, okay? You give the government an inch and they're going to take whatever the hell they want. Every which way they can right now. They want to be able to regulate and control whatever they can. Like, that pesky online political speech. Gosh, I feel like we should put together a disclaimer. By the way, let me just say right now that I'm talking about politics, so if you like it or you don't like it, you can like it or not like it. So we talk about politics. It's conservative, and so, yeah, it's conservative talk. So if you want to regulate it, go ahead. Fine, bring it. It's already brought. So they're going to get it where they can. So you remember when the election people, the Federal Election Commission, and when they were talking about campaign finance, remember when that was just all the buzz? Well, now they think it's important that to be able to regulate online speech. It's just not fair that some websites have more visitors or more influence than others. It's not fair. Well, either way, this is a stretch, but you look at the language. Here's what the official statement from the Federal Election Commission, from the FEC, this is what they said. This was from their little press statement that they put out the other day. He said, quote, "The Federal Election Commission is accepting public comment on a variety of potential," get this, "speech regulations, including whether it should impose new disclosure regulations on online political speech, such as political blogs, websites, webcasts, and podcasts, online news providers and news aggregators, social media and platforms, video websites, and video content posted on the internet." So yes, we're going to have a disclaimer for every frickin' political YouTube video. Chat rooms. So yes, if you're over in the chat room right now, yes, there's going to have to be something that's said there that says, "Hey, you're in some crazy little conservative chat room and they talk about politics." And email. So, whoa, email? Yeah, they want to look at your email. But don't worry about it because, hell, the IRS, they can't even keep up with all of their emails. They lose that crap left and right. Or maybe they found it. Who knows? It's lost and found over there. And all the other internet-based forums for political discussion and debate. Oh, wow. Doesn't that sound awesome? Oh, I mean, I don't know about you, but yeah, that's what we need to do. We've got to regulate people like Drudge. We need to regulate the 405media.com. We've got to regulate those guys. They've got too many conservative people, too many libertarians. Oh, it's just ridiculous. Oh, let alone people with a brain. So, and that pesky 405. You know, those guys over there, they are trying to take over the world. They have a chat room. They do online radio. They blog over there, and it's all political. Yeah, every now and then they talk about sports. We need to regulate them. We need to regulate Facebook because, oh wait, no, we can't regulate Facebook because of Zuckerberg. We could regulate Twitters. We can regulate the Twitters because there's so many conservative online activists like Politabunny. You know, it's so freaking stupid. Every time you go to YouTube and you watch a video, you're going to have to watch some stupid little disclaimer at every stupid video that says, "Caution, you're about to watch something that is political." It just sounds awesome. I mean, maybe we could have a global government that kind of put this stuff together. That's a thought. You know, remember when we were talking about how, you know, money can buy you just about anything? You know, how you can pretty much sway an election. The Koch brothers or, you know, some other rich people out there. You know, what can money can't buy me love. So, yeah. Okay, so money can't buy you love, but it sounds like some sort of radical thought from a Common Core Liberalism 101 class. But apparently, when you are one of the world's richest men, you can say stuff like that. Bill Gates. What a goon. You know, the guy just needs to stick to doing what he does best. He doesn't need to get out there and start talking and calling for some level of global government. That's like saying that Al Gore is qualified to talk about climate change and talk about the weather. If I want to know what the weather is, I'm just going to go outside and look. But in a recent interview, Bill Gates said, quote, "Take the UN. It's been created especially for the security in the world. We are ready for war because we have taken every precaution. We have NATO, we have divisions, jeeps, trained people. But what is with epidemics?" And if you didn't know, Bill Gates likes to throw money at, he loves throwing money at, what are those stupid things called when you got to go out and get shots all the time? And he loves throwing money at that. He wants people all over the world to go out and get shots. So he says, but what is with epidemics? How many doctors do we have as much planes, tents? What scientists? If there were such a thing as a world government, we would be better prepared. I take a heavy sigh because, just because you have more money than everyone else does not mean you're in charge. You don't just go around trying to create a one world government. In large part, the world is going to say, wait, no, not going to do it. I mean, did we all forget? I think maybe this is what we need a reminder of what the Declaration of Independence says. No, not the first part, the part that everybody remembers. And maybe it's just because it's too long or too short. Maybe it's opposites day. Who the hell knows? We can go out and create a multi-thousand-page healthcare bill, but we can't sit down and read 6 paragraphs called the Declaration of Independence. It's just too damn hard to read the whole thing. Ain't nobody got time for that. So, look, some of the best stuff is in the last paragraph where it says, we, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right, ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. And that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. How many different times did it say we are independent? How many times did it say we said no to being a part of someone else? We are our own country. We govern ourselves. That's one of the principles of conservatism. It's as simple as that. Self-government. And now's not the time to go into great detail about and break down the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution. We'll save that for another time. But look, we've got to stand our ground. We cannot subject ourselves to these ideas that these people keep throwing out there. You need to get out on Twitter and tell Bill Gates, no, you can stick your one world government where it doesn't go, or where it should go. Right up his keister. It's almost as bad as good old Joe Biden, stand-up Chuck, having him get out there and talk about butt buddies. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, I seriously think that we've all forgotten way too many important things. And we just go around and, oh, look, a cheeseburger. I want to eat that. It looks good. Never mind the fact that you're already 400 pounds overweight and you have your own TV show because, you still can't lose weight because you continue to eat cheeseburgers. Oh, but don't worry. Michelle Obama says if I drink Diet Coke, I'll be fine. Never mind the fact that, oh, to hell with it. People out there are so damn broke they can't afford to make their own macaroni and cheese. Now we need to tell people, don't buy Kraft macaroni and cheese. Powdered cheese is the devil. It will... Never mind the fact that it freaking tastes good. Never mind the fact that these buffoons out there in Washington can afford to make their own macaroni and cheese. Michelle Obama hasn't seen a kitchen for years. No, somebody else is out there cooking her food. But if she was out there having to cook her own food, you know what would happen? I guarantee you she's not going to feed her family that same cardboard crap that they put on a tray at school. Oh, hell no. No, she's going to make some good old Kraft macaroni and cheese. Why? Because it's cheap and it's easy. Not everybody can afford to go out and buy a $30 block of cheese just to cut up a chunk of it and throw it on some macaroni. That's the least of our worries. We've got bigger problems. It is time, people, to stand your ground. When the government is trying to take a mile, you've got to be willing to push back 2 miles. We can win this country back. It may seem as though all is lost and we just need to sit idly by and watch the British like those militiamen. Watch them march by. Hell no. They are firing at free will. It is time to start firing back. You do not have to take no for an answer. You've got more power than anybody in the government. Why? Because you are a citizen of the United States. You are an American. Now, if you have fought valiantly for this country, whenever you've been called upon, and are willing to do so again at moment's notice, it is time to protect what is sacred. And that is the ground which you have before you. Stand your ground, and do not let somebody come by and take it. Don't let them come by and woo you because, oh, look over there, the grass is greener. No, it's not. Stand your ground. Stand your ground. We've got so many more important things to worry about than some of the stuff that these people are out there talking about. But, you know, we're up at another break, and when we come back, we'll continue. You're listening to Daniel Stafford here on the Stafford Voice. We'll be right back.
You're on the 405.
K98Talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com. The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
Pissed off. Politically speaking.
Joining me now is a national talk treasure. Larry Elder, thanks for being on the show.
Talk treasure. I've been called a lot worse. I appreciate that. He is a national PR and communications expert, editorial columnist, and former aide to 3 U.S. presidents. Scott Jones.
What's going on out there right now and the Obama administration's response to it isn't funny.
I think Obama has made virtually every bad decision both for our economy and for foreign affairs.
Pissed Off Politically Speaking with your host Scott Jones, only on the 405media.com, Mondays 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific.
Janine Turner, thanks for being with us.
Oh, it's great. Pleasure. This whole liberal mantra that these ridiculous things that are being spun in a way that aren't true are very dangerous for our country. We may not be the best country, but show me a better one.
Right.
And we are good.
Join host Scott Jones for Pissed Off Politically Speaking on the 405media.com.
You're on the 405.
Obama, Obama, oh, oh. Obama, Obama, oh, oh. Obama, Obama, oh, oh. Obama, Obama.
This here's that new hit, Michelle Obama, the floatist. This one's for the middle class. This term's my last. I got work, you see. Free community college and roads to fix in the city. Got vacation days to use up, and damn, my golf shot's pretty. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Climate change has got me on fire, man. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Teabaggers call me a liar, man. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Hope and change, you know who I am. I'm too hot. Hot damn. And the redistribution of money, check it out. Tax increase, hallelujah. Woo! Tax increase, hallelujah. Woo! Tax increase, hallelujah. Woo! Obama bunk's gonna stick it to you. Obama bunk's gonna stick it to you. Obama bunk's gonna stick it to you. My massive spending will never stop. Don't believe me, just watch. Let me be clear. I'll say it again. Republicans, don't believe me, just watch.
Coming soon to the 405 Radio.
This guy sucks, but he doesn't suck as bad as this guy. I'm tired of voting for the polished turd. Ew, no way. You got dumbasses going to bowling alleys after they came back from Western Africa 72 hours before. You got a nurse who refuses to be quarantined because, I do what I want, whatever. I can eat bacon while talking to you about Ramadan. Totes. I totes agree. The government is always right. If there's anybody that you can trust, it's certainly the government is.
Your weekly slice of common sense conservatism and ADHD. It's According to Me with Jason DeWilkins, Barack Obama and Mitch McConnell's second most hated internet radio program. Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on the 405 Radio.
Won't you be my name?
We've done the research. He is the long-lost brother of Flava Flav.
The Stafford Voice, boys!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We are back again. Needed something to drink. You know, by the way, I got some, it's like white grape cranberry, or I don't know what the heck it is, but it's good. I can't put this stuff down. Raspberry, grape, something. It's a cup of awesomeness. But oh yeah, I'm fired up. But look, I was getting ready for the show earlier, and something stumbled across the screen. Yeah, boy! You know, I totally missed this. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that saw this. But if you're in the chat room, let me know. But Flavor Flav was out there slamming President Obama's ISIS strategy? Look, you got to check this out. Okay, so here's just a couple of the tweets that he sent out. Yeah, Flavor Flav tweets. It's, yeah. He said, my question to ISIS, why kill innocent women and children that can't defend themselves just to prove a pointless point? WTF. Another one, he says, United States should have wiped out ISIS after the first American got his head cut off, and it was only 30,000 then. How much more will it take, U.S.? Oh, man. Here, let me see if I can figure out how to... This was just... I'm going to throw this link up here in the chat room, because that was just some funny stuff. Flavor Flav just threw it out there. I didn't know he had that in him. I'm gonna have to break out some old Public Enemy and get out my big old clock necklace and that'd be a good photo op. But back in the day, wow. I got some stories for all you guys. Anyway, so there's pretty much like two things out there that I love to do. I love digging into history and really studying it. I love it. It's a blast. It takes me away from the crap that all this crap that we have today. It will really, really open your eyes to what you see going on, and it'll teach you how to stand your ground. I mean, like we talked about earlier, it is amazing how important it is to stand our ground. We have to. We cannot continue to give up the fight. And unfortunately, thanks to Common Core and the leftists, they don't want you to know it. I love all eras of history. One of the ones that for the last couple of years, I've really liked reading the first-person stories from Vietnam. I don't know why I'm so drawn to Vietnam, but I went through a phase where I would carry a book in my pocket at all times, and I'd be walking up and down the aisles at the grocery store, pushing a cart, and the wife is just filling it up. But I would carry a book with me everywhere, and it's kind of weird having a book stick out of your pocket. But you know what? These days, you don't have to do that. I mean, I'm so busy that I don't have time to read like I want to, or even that I need to, for that matter. There is so much other stuff out there I need to read, and I need to get caught up on and brushed up on. But I love reading about the founding of this country, and even the correspondence between our founding fathers going back and forth. It's absolutely amazing. Just incredibly enlightening. But I want you to know that even though I don't have the time to sit there and read like I want to, if you've got a smartphone or a tablet, you can subscribe to Audible.com. It's that easy. You can be driving across town or cutting the grass or having whatever you do in the bathroom. Hey, drop a deuce for all I care, but you can still stay caught up on anything that you want to read. Just you probably don't want to tell your wife. That's why you keep borrowing her tablet. You're not trying to improve her Candy Crush score. And by the way, if another goofball out there sends me a Candy Crush request, you're gone on the Facebooks. I don't go on social media to play games. There's too much at stake, people. But you stay caught up on all the great books that you want to read, but you don't have time to. And again, I don't have a lot of time, but I do have a subscription to Audible.com. And as a listener to the 4-hour Politainment Hour, you get a free 30 days, no strings attached trial to Audible.com. And you also get a free book. And since Audible is part of Amazon, there are like thousands and thousands of books to choose from. The only way that you can get this deal is to go to audibletrial.com/Politainment. You get a free audiobook, yes, even the newest releases. So head on over to audibletrial.com/Politainment. If that's too hard to remember, just go to politainment.net and click the little banner. Click the little picture for Audible. It's that easy. You can get signed up, get you a free 30-day subscription, get a free book on top of it. What's better than that? Well, how about this? The Magna Carta. As you may know, the Magna Carta, old piece of paper. In the eyes of the president, it probably really doesn't mean anything. He'd probably just wad it up and throw it in the trash. Let me be clear. It doesn't mean anything. It means absolutely nothing. Yeah, that's probably what he thinks. It's not important to him. He doesn't care. But understand this, that the Magna Carta was very, very important. So, why do I bring up the Magna Carta? Because there was an archivist whose name was Dr. Mark Bateson. He was asked to by this historian to go out and look for some history, some documented history about this town over there on the other side of the pond. He wanted to know more about this town for some research that he was doing. I failed you guys, I'm sorry, but I for the life of me I can't remember why he wanted him to go out there. But while he was out there, he was digging around in some of these scrapbooks at the county council thing. And back then, they stored everything in one remote area for the town. And, well, in one of these scrapbooks that he found, he found the information, first off, that he was asked to go look for, but he also found a copy of it was a 1300 edition of the Magna Carta, which was likely issued by Edward I. It was one of the last editions that was ever issued. There's multiple editions where, obviously an edition means that they've added some things or they've had to change a couple of things. But either way you look at it, this is still pretty cool. I mean, for something to have lasted that long, since the year 1300, and yeah, it was a little beat up. I mean, it was ripped in half, and about a third of it was missing. But they know that this was they know for a fact that this is a true copy of the Magna Carta. Now, earlier this month, there were 4 versions of the 1215 edition, and they were brought together. And so it's pretty cool over there, and I bring up the Magna Carta because it was important. It outlined some of the basic rights, and that with the idea that no one, not even the king, was above the law. It brought forth the idea of limiting taxation without representation and giving people a fair trial. I mean, the Magna Carta inspired a handful of other documents, including those that we talked about earlier, the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Or I should have probably switched those. The Declaration of Independence, because it came first, and the U.S. Constitution. But I mean, that's just incredible that it has stood the test of time, and it's still. I think it'd be fascinating to be over there and digging around like this archive dude, and looking at some of the stuff that these historians are doing over there. It's just fascinating. But also, even something more fascinating is that there's somebody out there so stupid you can't even really insult them. And unfortunately, this particular person did it again. He almost does it every week, and sometimes we have to shelve the ideas and the crap that this idiot says. But you know what? Let's dive into our Who Said That segment.
My first job is to protect the American people. It is entirely legitimate for the American people to be deeply concerned when you've got a bunch of violent, vicious zealots who behead people or randomly shoot a bunch of folks in a deli in Paris.
Back to the question Jim was asking about his description of the shooting at the kosher deli in Paris as being randomly shoot a bunch of folks in a deli in Paris. I mean, this was not a random shooting of a bunch of folks in a deli in Paris. This was an attack on a kosher deli. Does the president have any doubt that those terrorists attacked that deli because there would be Jews in that deli?
Well, John, it is clear from the terrorists and some of the writings that they put out afterwards what their motivation was. The adverb that the president chose was used to indicate that the individuals who were killed in that terrible, tragic incident were killed not because of who they were, but because of where they randomly happened to be.
They weren't killed because they were in a Jewish deli, though? They were in a kosher
John,
deli?
These individuals were not targeted by name. This is the point.
Not by name, but by religion, were they not?
Well, John, there were people other than just Jews who were in that deli.
Do you see any doubt that deli was attacked because it was a kosher deli? This was
No,
not
John.
any random deli.
No, John.
It was a kosher deli.
I answered the question once. No. Ed.
So then why didn't the president acknowledge that? If he knows that and it's obvious, why didn't he say that? He had a long...
The president has acknowledged that on many occasions when he's had the opportunity to speak about this incident.
But he didn't there. And in terms of the media hype, do you think a Jordanian pilot being burned alive is just the media hyping something?
Ed, we've talked on a number of occasions, and certainly I've had the opportunity, as recently as at the end of last week, to talk about how the United States of America stands shoulder to shoulder with our partners in Jordan as they confront the terrible tragedy of seeing one of their military pilots who is serving and defending that country be killed in such a brutal, inhumane way. I do think it exposes the bankrupt ideology of ISIL.
Okay. I can't listen to that idiot any longer. First off, our first idiot, as you know, was none other than President Obama, who said that, this was just a random act of a couple of people that happened to be in a kosher deli in Paris, and they died. Never mind the fact that it's probably the largest kosher deli right there in the whole entire area of Paris, and never mind the fact that you obviously know who shops at a kosher deli. Obviously, the Jewish population would. So why else would some random act of ignorance go in and start shooting people in a kosher deli? Freaking morons. I don't even want to get started in on ignoramus. Press secretary. He's a freaking moron. How in the hell can you get up and defend what that jackass says every frickin' day? I have no idea what... Oh, that crap pisses me off. You know why somebody targets a kosher deli. It's not just some random act. You know damn well what was happening and what was going on. Both of those guys, I don't know which one's dumber. The press secretary or the resident. I have no idea. Probably the press secretary, because he's the one that has to get up and defend everything. And I swear, if a monkey flew out of Joe Biden's butt buddy, he'd probably wind up as press secretary. Because that ignoramus that stands up there every day and defends the resident like he does in such kiss-assery. Oh, God, that guy just sends me into orbit. Oh, I got to get off of that topic. You know, you downplay the terror. Oh, God. Oh. You know, again, that's some of the stuff that we've got. We have to stand our ground. It's so important because people out there like the press secretary and President Obama are out there saying crap like that. They have no idea the way of history. They have no knowledge of history. I don't care if you have 5 different degrees from a university. I don't care if you're a Harvard law professor. I don't care if you're a Yale law professor. None of that makes sense. There's a difference in having a piece of paper hang on your wall versus actual real-world knowledge and being educated. Being able to put 2 and 2 together and not worry about how many, and not worrying about rounding up to 10 in order to subtract the difference so you can come up with the answer. Or just make up a number and explain how you came up to that number. The last thing we need to worry about is Obama's selfie stick. We need to be worried about what's going on here at home and taking care of it and standing our ground. Like the guy from Jordan, King Abdullah. Here's a guy, when somebody threatens his people, he puts on the old battle fatigues and says, "Line them up, boys. Hop on in this big bird and let's take a ride." Whereas President Obama gets out his selfie stick and says, "Hey, take a look at me. I'm one good-looking son of a..." Hey, whoa. Calm down. Look, here's a golf club. Go swing it somewhere. Go hit your balls. You know what, people? It is almost time to call it a night. And I would be a little remiss if I did not send some well wishes to Artist Angie of real serious nonsense. I hope and pray that she is getting better by the minute. But Pohl knocked it out of the park. I mean, he did one hell of a job. And kudos to the bunny with chainsaws, for being able to bring it like she always does. I mean, wow. She, for what, an hour and a half? She went, and Jason, 2 hours of ADHD squeezed into an hour. I don't know how he does it. I have no idea how he does it. But the guy cracks me up all the time. But I want you to know that you need to go out and you need to find these people on social media. Find them out on the Twitters or the Facebooks and send them some love. If you're not following them, well, hell, you're probably living under a rock to begin with. But go out there and tell them that they just knock it out of the ballpark every Thursday night. And obviously, you can catch the replays here on the 405 and a couple of other places whenever you need to, because it's just 4 hours of awesomeness. the 4-hour Polititainment Hour. That's all it is. That's all you need to know. But I do want to thank you and say that is all the time I've got for this week. It sucks, I know, but God willing, the Stafford Voice will be back right here next week on the 405. You can follow me on the Twitters at Stafford Voice. Look me up on Facebook by searching for the Stafford Voice. Email any questions or comments you have to daniel@polititainment.net. Thank you so much for your time, and until next week, thanks and God bless.
K98Talk.com, a leader in Internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com. K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.